Hallelujah. Let Lord Jesus Christ shine forth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. Welcome. Welcome, David. How are you doing?
Hello.
How are
We're
you doing?
live.
Okay, you are typing. Welcome, everyone who is joining us in the chat. It's been almost 36 hours since grooming gang or rape gangs reports are being public, and over 1 million people downloaded. So I am guessing most of us already read these 219 pages, right?
We read about probably 25 or 35 pages live last night.
From the report?
Yep.
Did you do intro and first couple of testimonies, or?
Yeah, we read the beginning stuff and then like the first probably 4 stories, but there were like 80 pages worth of stories.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's messed up. So those of you who are joining us in the chat, if you want to get my attention, kindly tag Hatuntaş DCCI Ministries, and then it appears with color code, so it helps with the practical side of things. We love you to join the conversation. If you are feeling strongly about the topic, I hope you do. I'm happy to put the link so you can call in and then express your thoughts. Let's go with thoughts, not that much feelings, but express your thoughts. So a report was published yesterday, and I don't know like how to verbalize it. So it shows how Britain messed up. It shows how Britain messed up, and report focuses on grooming gangs, started as grooming gangs from 1955, and then it is still going on. In summary, it gives us the name of 149 towns with minimum of 250,000 kids. And sad thing is, still we don't know exactly the number. And then it gives us the religions, and then what might be the religion's justification for this, as well as gives us the pattern, how it has been done with the testimony of the girls. And sad thing is, not shocking, but sad thing is, we are reminded again and again, government officials, from MPs to the police, to the social services, to the school teachers, to care houses, everyone intentionally turned blind eye.
And you kept seeing over and over and over again, the victims kept saying, everyone seemed to be scared of being called racist.
Yeah. So the reason people turned blind eyes, because they thought being called racist is much more important than watching those girls being put in taxi, raped, drugged, and tortured. People's priority is different, but overall, I think it points to us how world desperately needs Jesus. That's what I am all seeing this. Yeah, so number is at least 250,000, and we don't know. And the number, like we get to read first time it takes place from 1955, but as it comes 1980s and onwards, suddenly like extent of abuse or the crime gets bigger and bigger, because it is done only by the followers of certain religion, and it links with, according to the report, it links with immigration. So as immigrants are entering the country more and more for, let's say, better life, that's what they would say, and then we get to see more kids are being abused. So number gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and what happens as the numbers grow is politicians begin to depend on that voting bloc to win elections, so they have to basically keep quiet about the grooming gangs because you don't want to upset that voting bloc or you automatically lose. And
Yeah.
so,
And
there was a time when, you mentioned that they knew that they first found that this was going on in the 1950s. That's where you actually had a gang raping young British girl and so on. So they're aware of it. And then it gets worse in the 60s, worse in the 70s. Um, but back then it was still small minority. Then once they started having mass immigration, then all of a sudden the Pakistani Muslim population has political power. You need their votes to win elections. So who wins the elections? Whoever is going to turn a permanent blind eye to that. And so that's where they're at right now. And everyone else is just scared of being called a racist.
greed and hunger for power is dangerous, dangerous sin. So someone says, we will follow Islam only. Mr. We will follow Islam only says, when we Muslims came to Europe, all the white girls loved to open their legs for us. Yeah. So therefore, it gives you very basic rights to go and then pick them up.
He's talking about 10, 11, 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
And he's saying they love to open their legs for us, meaning that they had an entire system in place for how this works. And you saw the same story over and over again. They look for girls who already have some sort of troubled background. And that's why they start they'd have a younger looking Muslim who would start grooming her, just taking her out and stuff, treat her like an adult, buy her things and so on. And this could go on for months. They start plying her with drugs, start plying her with alcohol, then start raping her and so on. And this guy's bragging, yeah, they love to open their legs for us.
I would expect person to make a comment, oh, it can't be Muslims because we can't even do a handshake with someone who is not our wife or our daughter, all those kind of things. But yeah, they are simply justifying what they are doing. Before I bring up a couple of things to our attention, so probably since you looked at first few part of the report, I'll focus on the other parts. Hopefully we won't kind of repeat the same thing, so people can go and then watch yours if they haven't done so, and then this can be followed.
You can repeat the same things over and over and over again. This is a situation where this needs to be repeated all day, every day by millions of people until people actually catch on. And basically, the more people who find out about this, the more chance there is of something being done, because it's not just a situation where you need to stop this to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's people need to, they're reopening a bunch of cases based on this first batch. And keep in mind, this is like the first step. This round was the first set of interviews and stuff. They're already demanding that cases that were brought to police before, and the police are either in on it because that's some of the stories that sometimes police are actually involved. And girls would even say there was a cop day. It was understood that the cops get their turns with the girls and so on. So anyway, you had some cops who are actually in on it, or profiting from it, or taking part in it. But you also had other cops who are just too scared to say anything, so they keep quiet about it and they'd sweep these things under the rug. Well, now that the stories are coming out, they want to reopen those cases that were swept under the rug and find out who knew and who's responsible and stuff, and start going after. Because keep in mind, it's not just the rapists you need to go after; it's everyone else. And some people need to be prosecuted. Like if a police officer destroyed evidence, that's one of the things that was going on. Police officers were destroying evidence. Okay, you need to go to prison yourself for that. But if you're just turning a blind eye, I don't know if there would be charges there, but at the very least, you should not have a job working in any of these places. If you were in a care facility where you were supposed to be protecting girls, and you didn't, okay, you cannot have any sort of related job to that anymore. You need to go do something else. So anyway, they need to find everyone who's involved, everyone who is allowing it to happen, and this goes back decades. So a lot of work to be done here.
So there are police officers who are involved. There are MPs who are involved. There is a police officer, according to the testimony, simply says, go and have fun with her. And you are speaking very hopefully. And I know from my experiences, no, police simply loses or misplaces one and only evidence for a case. And then all they can say is there is nothing we can do. You can't. It's practically very difficult to go and then try to sue that police or that police station. So you are speaking very hopefully, and even Rupert Law, who's been trying to deal with this. Even people are already kind of trying to make sure this conversation finishes. It was practically very difficult for him to even to start the inquiry. He had to do crowdfunding because our government didn't want to deal with it. And today, one of the lady who is also being mentioned in the report, Sammy Woodhouse, she was interviewed by one of the national TV channel, ITV. And before the interview, she was told, do not mention the race. So, messed up. But I've got this Mr. Muslim apparently decided this is something that he's very proud of it. Therefore, he says, well, it is just a piece of paper that law says they cannot consent, but they still mentally consent with the knowledge what they are engaging in.
Yeah, especially after we drug and apply them with alcohol and then start raping them and tell them they're worthless scum and then manipulate them. Notice the methodology they use is the same methodology that pimps use with the lover boy method and so on, where they, like Andrew Tate, where he, gets a girl attracted to him first and then later slowly manipulates her into doing more and more stuff. They kind of use that with their initial guy, but then they get the girls to do more and more, and what happens with the girl, they eventually conclude that it's normal because they don't know any other life except for being raped by these guys, and they're proud of it.
So UK is their breeding platform. With the comment, I was reminded this from the report. I was beaten, strangled, suffocated, and my head held underwater, tortured, kicked, and raped over 100 times. I was told that if I don't scream when you are raped, then you are consenting to rape. So you should be stoned to death. I was told that Muslim girls know this because the Quran says that Aisha's silent was her consent to the marriage to Muhammad. So Muslims girl knew to scream, but white girls don't. So that's their fault then because they are not Muslim. When I didn't wear headscarf to try to protect myself from being raped, I was told to get it off. And they raped me again. And then it goes on.
And you keep reading these stories, and these girls they'd go to police, they'd go to everyone asking for help. No one would help them because everyone is scared of being called racist.
Yeah, welcome to England. So apparently, yes, Mr. Muslim is right. If you're not screaming, apparently you are giving consent to be raped. You are giving right to someone else to use their right to rape you. That's the mindset of followers of Islam. Ugly mindset. Let me just point out something before we look at a couple of things in this. I think this is, we can maybe just start with her testimony, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, we are dealing with Islam in 21st century still, that promotes marrying and divorcing a child, having sex with a child, promotes publicly and openly proud of having sex slaves, promotes if you are not covered, you are abused, you are like this dirty lollipop, all those kind of things, promotes sex slaves, and promotes lots of things under the domestic violence. And we get to see how Muslim influencers are practicing this, right? From how they are treating their own, their Muslim sisters. If they are already doing these things to their Muslim sisters, what do you expect they are going to do to non-Muslims? And answer to that is these rape gangs and grooming gangs. That's what it is. That is the fruit of Islam in 21st century towards non-Muslims. Are you okay for me to start with Dr. Hill's testimony?
Mm-hmm.
This was public while back. And then we can look at, did you get to look at the, I think there was 8-point report put together that why this is Islamic, and then they put together some 8-point of theological comments. Did you get to look at them?
I know they had an entire section of the report, but we read it also, there was a summary of it in the intro that we read, but I didn't read the actual section.
Okay, I was surprised that they knew that much about Islam, but that's
this was actually good, and this was what was surprising, because that's what they're usually, and they also said that in the intro. They said this one's no holds barred. There are no rules about what you're allowed to say and what you're allowed to report and stuff like this. So we're just we're reporting everything as it is. And they went through all the justifications that these girls found out about from the guys who were raping them, and they actually reported what the connections were with Islam. And I was actually surprised. It's the same stuff I've been saying for at least 15, 16 years about what the connections are. It was the same stuff. Why? Because I'm aware of the same sources. You're aware of the same sources, Hatun, that the Muslims are using to justify what they do.
I thought they watched some of your videos to get that much information. That's what I thought when I was reading those parts.
Sounded very similar to what we've been saying for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, let me share a little bit testimony from this side. I was told that I must respect their religion. This was the first of many confusing lies that I was forced to believe. I was told that to show them Muslims respect, I mustn't eat pork. I was told that Muslim girls are good and pure and stay virgins until marriage. That's a lie, but anyway. But all white girls are slugs, and they all sleep with hundreds of people. I was told white girls are trash. They are all whores. They are lower than the shit under your shoes. They don't obey Allah, so they deserve to be punished. They don't dress modestly. Muslim women are pure because they cover down to their ankles and down to their wrist, and hem of their top comes down below their knees. White girls shows the curves of their body, so they are asking for it. This just reminds me background of Surah 33, verse 59, right?
Yep.
And Ibn Kathir's comment, uncovered women are whores.
And even in the Yusuf Ali translation, he says that you have to cover yourself so that you won't be molested. So if you don't cover yourself, you're basically asking to be molested.
Yeah. So white girls show their curves of their bodies, so they are asking for it. They should be raped as punishment for not obeying Allah. Kafir girls are worthless. Sex with a kafir girl doesn't count as adultery. Only sex with a Muslim woman counts as adultery. If you are not a virgin before marriage, you should be beaten. Many times I was told that Quran says, if one of your wives disobey you, beat her. This was often quoted to me before they beat me with their hands. They believed they had a position of their religion's moral superiority over the non-believers. They believed that it was their duty to punish us, as they believed that doing so made them good Muslims. This is what they were taught by their mothers. They were taught that witches in Pakistan are blonde. So blondes are more evil and they deserve worse punishment. I was told that in Islam, if a girl or a woman looks at a man who is not her brother, father, or her husband, that means she wants to have sex with him. So I was told to look at the floor when I was around Muslim men. So when I did look at the waiter in restaurant, I was then taken away to be gang raped as a punishment. I was told that according to their faith community, girls are old enough to have sex when they start their periods at age 11. Many of us had endured the sexual acts of tithing, which I'm not told that it's religiously sanctioned way of molesting children according to some Islamic scripture. You have to lay down on your back with your legs straight together, and they straddle you and fuck between your thighs. They threatened to kill my parents if my parents tried to stop me seeing them. I was intimidated with guns and treated with body parts being cut off with knives. When I tried to escape, I was told that I had offended their honor, so they had to spill my blood. They did this in an honor attack. All of the sexual abuse that I experienced was linked to the spiritual abuse or religion's abuse. Religion scripture were used as a tool to control, to force me to conform to their will. I was not allowed to question their religion's belief. They used their religion's moral authority and self-proclaiming elitism to control me. Though use of scripture, forced confessions, censorship of decision-making, requirement of secrecy and silence, isolation, excessive shaming and punishment around sexuality, and requiring unquestioning obedience. I experienced this as a deeply personal, terrifying physical, emotional, and spiritual attack. Every time they quoted scripture, it was very hard to argue with. To them, it was like I was arguing with God. To me, it was actually like I was arguing with a devil. They used their so-called religion's moral authority to do most horrific, immoral acts imaginable.
Yep, that's been 14 centuries of that.
And practiced and practiced. There is a part there is in someone's testimony, there is a part that they are putting bottle in her private part.
Oh yeah, that was I think that was in the first one.
Chloe, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then there was another one that they're making her to have sex with a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And then lots of details are given, and it is ugly, but it is there. It is there for us to read it. It is there for us to share it. We just need to make sure people knows this is what happens. Someone who is got broken, I don't even know how it is practically possible, like you are putting bottle in someone's private part. Someone turns up the doctor, and then there is not even question of how did this get here. Medical experts don't even call the police officers, call the services, just send her back.
Nope, that's how you lose your job, because then you're a racist.
She talks about they didn't even record it. I was beaten, black and blue, raped, not only sexually raped with their body part themselves, but with the objects as well. There was an incident. I was taken to hospital. It's not even in my medical records. I was taken to ER because my vagina was split open from a glass bottle. How many different men do you think raped you over that period when you were 16? About 100. So, within 1 year, she's only teenage, 16 years old child. 100 men raped her. You said around 100 men? What race they were? Mainly Pakistani. Were there any white men? No. Did they ever talk about religion? Yeah, lots of times. They used to tell me things that good angel and bad angel that I have been kind of possessed, and they've got to punish me to get rid of the badness out of me. That's why they have to rape me and do all that stuff to me to get badness out of me. I've got to be punished, yeah. And it was just all kind of stuff like that. The words they say to me, you are Gora, like a white trash, white skin. You need to put all of those individuals, from medical experts to the taxi drivers to the people who even stamps taxi drivers right to do taxi driving, all of them, put them in a prison cell and then leave them by themselves. And even the family of those Mr. Muslims who are involved, they are talking about people would come for Eid, and part of their Eid celebration is simply rape those kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would say they needed to bring they would tell the girls they had to bring their friends because their relatives were showing up, and it was Eid, Islamic holiday there, and so they would need more girls to rape. Keep in mind, these are the you have the you have Westerners, and they think, oh, it's your special Islamic holiday and this and that, and so you're going to be more calm and peaceful. And they'd always be surprised when terrorist attacks spike during Ramadan. We would call it the Ramadan Bombathon back in the day because we knew terrorist attacks were going to spike during Ramadan. And it's a Western idea that, oh, it's your Islamic holiday or festival or celebration or whatever, your special religious time, and therefore you're going to be better, more peaceful people. And they don't realize, well, if people are focusing more on their religion and their religion is evil and encourages rape and abuse and all these things, they're going to do it more. And it's exactly what we find out from the girls.
So how was your Eid? Oh yeah, I was very busy. I was just raping teenagers in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Let me point out Mr. Police officers too. There is this child in the report. They're calling the police. She's giving report to the police, and then before police takes her report, police tells her, redact your statement. And then she simply redacts her statement stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The police were called. She's 14 years old. She was gang raped and beaten by 3 men who had locked her in a house. She was left covered in cuts and bruises, which alerted a friend. The friend told her own mother, who then contacted Michelle's mother. The police were called, but they claimed there was little they could do without more evidence. What evidence do you need? Someone to just watching and then saying, oh yeah, I saw this was exactly in this. What evidence do you need? One of the gang members later forced Michelle to go to the police station with him to retract her statement. The police accepted him as appropriate adult, a role normally reserved for parents, close family members, social workers, or trained professionals. And then investigation simply dropped. Care staff would call the police, but officers reportedly referred to the girls as prostitutes. How can 14-year-old child identified as prostitute? Seriously? She became pregnant 4 times as a child as a result of rape, leading to miscarriages, 1 abortion, and 1 surviving child. Of her abusers, she stated 98% of them were Pakistani Muslim. If not, they were Iraqi Muslim or Kurdish. Anyway, sorry, I get very angry with those, with their stupid, police's stupid act. Actually, they don't even act on it. They just intentionally turn blind eye, because being called racist was much more important than sacrificing the girls.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday. But here's the thing. We can grant, okay, most Muslims weren't actively raping girls and so on, but you can see the impact that Islam has on a society here. You at least have a disproportionate portion of the Muslim population who believes it's good and wonderful and fine and definitely permissible to drug, groom, rape, gang rape, pimp young non-Muslim girls. Okay, then you have the Muslims who know what's going on and don't object. Then you have the wider Muslim population who still freak out if you draw attention to that, right? I mean, think the politicians said we couldn't go against the Muslims. We couldn't expose this stuff. We can't say, hey, this is Pakistani Muslims doing this. We lose the vote. Well, think about this. Why would that upset Pakistani Muslims if you're calling out the rapists? If you're exposing rape, I mean, my goodness, if there were rapists going around, I would want you to expose them. Even in my community, I think it would be very good if you caught them and exposed them and sent them to prison. In the Pakistani community, hey, if you expose the rapists who are raping all these girls, we're not voting for you. You're an evil person. Okay. So Islam somehow does that. And what happens, Islam basically convinces police, politicians, judges, prosecutors, social workers, caregivers, all these people, teachers, that when girls are being raped and gang raped and so on by Muslims, you have to keep your mouth shut or you're a racist. Okay, if that's the impact Islam has on a society, you don't need to be bringing Islam into your society, period. You don't need to be doing that. That's a bad thing. So stop it. And anyway, not only do they know this is going on, they're bringing in all these immigrants from Pakistan, and they know this because it's been going on since the 1950s. They know this, and they're putting them in communities with little white girls running around, and they know what these guys are doing.
Like there is a testimony of the girl. She's talking about she was put in under the social care houses, and she says before she got there, she knew that place is already been identified as exploitation for the girls, sexual exploitation for the girls, but she was still placed there. And apparently it cost £5,000 to weekly to government to pay these houses, these care places, £5,000. And within that £5,000 they're receiving, they didn't even bother to call the police to inform them what's happening. They were just simply watching. And then I think it was talking about like a lady was asking for get the registration number for the taxis, and then guy says it's above my payroll. So even care houses are being involved in it. Like, it's proper business, criminal business. And yeah, no one wants to be called racist. Therefore, you just watch those girls are coming with the bloods and with the bruises all over their body. %87 of rape gang convictions were the people with the distinctively Muslim names. These figures stand in mark constructed so much similar proportion of the Pakistani or Muslim communities within the overall population of the modern Britain. So approximately 6.5% Muslims, Pakistani around 2.1%. So if like 2.5% of the Muslim population is Pakistani, and they are able to produce rape gangs for minimum of 250,000 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those people are already out on the streets because they just served half of their prison sentence, and it wasn't even big deal to send them to prison. I had these things in my speaker's corner bag. So I took this list to speaker's corner while, like, I know it was after Jay left speaker's corner. So those are some of the names of those groomers or rapists. So lots of Muhammads in this list. They are the ones who already been sent to prison. And then here's another list. Like, it's huge list. Muhammads, Bilal, Akbar, Hussein, Amir, Muhammad, Ahmed, Imtiaz.
What could all these Muhammads possibly have in common?
Yeah, that's the magical question, right? Mustafa, Muhammad, Nasir, Yasir, Imran, Omar, Muhammad. In each page, you got like lots of Muhammads. And this is old list. It's like there are lots of names or edited on the in the official list. I don't have them. This is like when I took it to speaker's corner. And then here's the other one. A huge list, like most of Mr. Muhammad's. Yeah, it makes sense. 87% of them have Muslim names, and 149 towns in Britain. Muhammad Sadir, Muhammad Mia, Muhammad Sadiq, Muhammad Rostani, Mehmet Chitak, that looks Turkish name. Muhammad Tahir, Muhammad, I know. Muhammad Mustafa. Not only their prophet's first name, but their prophet's other name. So it's all, anyway, like list goes on and on and on.
I'm still trying to figure out what the connection could be. I mean, you've got Muhammad, a rapist, and this rapist is the pattern of conduct for Muslim men. And then you got all these guys named Muhammad who turn out to be rapists.
Well,
I can't figure it out. It's so hard to figure out.
I know. It's very hard. But there's a saying, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? But still, we cannot find out what might be the reason. Because the moment you bring up the commonality, you will have this label on you as racist. Pakistani Muslims. So they are not Asian grooming gangs. They are not Japanese. They are not Vietnamese. They are not Chinese. They are Pakistani Muslims. And they make only 2% of Muslim population in England. And the damage they caused, crime they did, minimum of 250,000 girls. So here's the according to the report, what they put together regarding how does this link with Islam. Probably they sit down and then they talked about, which religion has Eid? Which religion screams Allah Akbar? Which religions go to mosque? Which religion has this job called imam? Because even imams were involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of thought all these kind of things. They thought, oh, which religion has the book called Quran? And then they might be saying, okay, let's look into Islam and then see if there is anything in Islam, in ideology of Islam, justifies this. At least 8 theological aspects of Islam may contribute to the cultural patterns that enable or normalize the sexual abuse of non-Muslim girls. These include 1. The doctrine of Muslim superiority. 2. Principles of royalty and dishonor. 3. Male dominance over women. 4. Enforced seclusion and veiling of women. 5. Forced marriages compiled with the absence of fixed minimum age of consent. 6. The perception of female sexuality as inherently dangerous or fitna. 7. The historical Sharia, institutions of slavery, and the system of dhimmi. So you are taking it out of the Quran so that it has nothing to do with Islam?
No. I'm just every comment I see from this we will follow Islam only guy. I'm just gonna.
What is he saying?
I don't know. Every time I see his stupid name, I'm just gonna start wrecking the Quran.
And he might say, like, we are sorry, let's work together to fix this. The way we can fix this, we need to get rid of the ideology called Islam.
Mm-hmm.
He might be saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only Muslims are doing this to non-Muslims, but his Muslim brothers are doing very, very similar thing to his Muslim sisters, right? It might be maybe his mother, or maybe his sister, or maybe his daughter, or his wife might be the victim of some sort of these things.
And you know what you end up with these cycles of abuse, actually very common to happen to Pakistani boys as well. It's just a normal part. I knew a woman who lived close to DC, and she rented a house to 5 Pakistanis. So they're just, there he is again. So 5 Pakistanis, like not a Pakistani family, 5 different Pakistanis that she rented this house to. But she was trying to witness to them and stuff, and so she'd end up in having discussions with them. Um, and she said the topic eventually got on when they just be sitting there talking, and the topic got to abuse, and one of them started talking about what happened to him when he was young, but he wasn't acting like this traumatized him. He mentioned it like it was something normal or something like this. And then but she's shocked. She's like, what? And then she ends up asking the others that it happened to all of them. It was just a normal part of growing up, and they didn't understand what she was so surprised about.
While back, we did review of a video from Pakistan. I can't remember how it was titled, but yeah, it was talking about how it is very, very common especially in madrasas, where not only all the kids but also the teachers mainly are sexually abusing these boys. So if you went to madrasa in Pakistan, probably you were sexually abused.
Yeah, it's normal part.
So this Mr. Muslim doesn't want you to get vitamin D. He says you won't live to see the sun. So sun is vitamin D. So he doesn't want you to have a healthy life, David. Muslims are in every corner of the earth, and your fate is getting closer with a sword emoji.
Uh-oh.
I can see David is very scared. Like you can see his hands are shaking since some of the Muslims made his address public as well. Like he's very shaky right now.
Yeah, Hatun's scared too. We're all super scared, guys.
Yeah, I'm hiding behind my miswak. It will help me one day. Mr. Muslim, you've got to pull yourself together, and that's not that difficult. That's not that difficult. There are occasions I think Muslims don't know any better, but there are occasions I think you are intentionally turning blind eye and rejoicing in this crime, in this sin. And if you are not actively supporting it, actively involved in it, you are rejoicing it in, and it's really, really no good. No good at all. The reason this is Islamic, according to the report, is Muslim supremacy. And it's been on the social media as well recently. Some Dawa gangs are bringing people's... David, which Quran is that?
I'm just pointing out, there's some good Arabic here. It's not even translation material. Oh, there he is again. Yeah, he keeps posting comments, which are basically requests for this to happen.
Okay, so are you aware that that book, Quran, has margins on the side? So it is one of the different, probably pointing different Qurans. I am pointed out that the link to the report is not in the description, and I'm just putting the link in the description. And it is officially there right now. So maybe you need to do refreshing or something, but it should be there. It should be there. I hope you got that Quran from the mosque, that you didn't need it to pay for it.
I don't mind paying good money to wreck Qurans. Small price to pay.
Okay, I'm guessing we will follow Islam only, will kind of pull himself together. So you don't want to be the like man who is responsible for the destruction of the Quran, right? It's not very good place to be. Oh, apparently he wants to be the man.
He does.
David's wife will be wife of Muslim man. David is too weak. Muslim man mock David.
Ask my wife who's stronger, me or 1 billion Muslim men. Weaklings.
So one of the reasons that Islam is behind this, I haven't seen any Indonesian Muslims, but there were lots of like mainly Pakistani, some Turks, some Kurds. Egypt was in the list as well, but also report also point out like in Netherlands and in Austria you've got the same problem, and Sweden has the same problems. So just it's not in UK. So wherever Muslims go, they take their religion with them, and then result of that is this, or fruit of that is this. Islam holds that those who are righteous and truly fear God, meaning Muslims, are inherently superior to those who reject Allah's commands, namely non-Muslims. I'm putting God instead of God. I'm saying Allah. The report says God.
Actually, good that they're quoting Surah 3, verse 110. It's the same thing, right? Surah 3, verse 110. Muslims are the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind. 98:6. Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures.
Oh, it wasn't that. 98:6 is not here.
Oh, no, we're good with Surah 3, verse 110.
Yeah, so Surah 3, verse 110. Yeah, you are the best among the nations, raised up for mankind, all those kind of things. And then, of course, Hadith gives us the breakdown of that. And then they even explain, not only that they are giving you the verse, but they are also pointing out implications of that. The verse positions Muslims as the finest community entrusted by God with the duty to enjoin good and forbid evil. So, if this is the finest community, best community ever, anyone who is breathing out and breathing in and who are not Muslim should be really very aware of it. Because if the best community is able to, for decades, rape little girls, minimum of 250,000 of them, what does it tell you about their definition of best, right? It doesn't match with the Oxford Dictionary at all.
Yeah, they mean the best of rapists.
I'm not sure even they were good at it. They were just good at passing them on stuff, because best rapists wouldn't put bottle in girl's private part, wouldn't break the grass in her private part. This responsibility can be understood as authorizing Muslims to correct, compel, or if needed, punish non-Muslims, potentially through coercion or force. Other Quranic passages affirms Islam's ultimate supremacy over all religions. 48:28. It is Allah who sent his messenger with the guidance and the religion of the truth, Islam, to make it trampled over every religion. Non-Muslims who refuse Islam are described in harsh terms, such as in Surah 8:55. Surely the worst of animals in Allah's sight are the rejectors. They do not believe. And then Surah 9:28 is pointed out as well. The concept of Muslim superiority is closely linked with the derogatory views of non-Muslims. For instance, Surah 928 labels associators a pejorative term, encompassing Christians, Jews, and other non-Muslims as unclean. See, they've done like they watch some of the videos, right?
Yeah. But it sucks. Sometimes they're quoting a verse where they need to also quote the next verse, right? Like they quoted 48:28 when they need to include 48:29. So read 48:28 there. It is he, Allah, who has sent his messenger with the guidance and the religion of truth, Islam, to make it triumph over every religion. The very next verse, 48:29 says, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those who are with him are severe against disbelievers and merciful among themselves. They're severe against disbelievers, like those disbelieving 11-year-old girls that they were gang raping. Merciful among themselves, merciful only towards fellow Muslims. And then they quote 928.
Without
but then, 929. How do you leave out 929 there? That's fight those that do not believe in Allah. It specifically refers to Jews and Christians.
Yeah. Dr. Ella Hill described certain abusive languages. She says, being made to bend down and kiss her, the guy who was raping her, his feet as a deliberate act to underscore her inferiority. She also spoke of another Rotherham victim who, during the gang rapes by dozen of men, was forced to lick their feet clean because they believed they were morally superior to her.
Imagine a religion that convinces gang rapists of 11 and 12-year-old girls that they're morally superior and can demonstrate their moral superiority by forcing the girl to lick their feet clean as they take turns raping her. That's Islam, guys. That's what we go against. And everyone said, no, you're so mean. What Islamophobes?
Well, we just look at Britain, right? They didn't want to be mean. Therefore, they sacrificed minimum of 250,000 girls.
And they scream, small price to pay because diversity is our strength.
Yeah. If you are eating pork, you are unclean, you are dirty. If you use knife and fork, you are dirty. If you don't eat your food with your hands, you are dirty too. Is that guy still like commenting on things?
I don't know. I keep seeing his name pop up, so I just decided to keep ripping pages.
Okay. Us versus them. So this is the second point. Islamic principle known as al-wala al-bara. Loyalty versus dishonor. Commands Muslims to direct their love and allegiance towards what pleases Allah while hating, avoiding, and distancing themselves from what displeases Him. In essence, it calls for loving and supporting fellow believers and rejecting non-believers. Surah 328. Let none of the believers take the disbelievers as allies rather than the believers. Whoever does that has nothing from God unless you guard yourself as a precaution.
And the word there's actually taqiyya.
Yeah.
And if you look at Ibn Kathir's commentary on this verse, Surah 3, verse 28, that's where Ibn Kathir quotes Muhammad's companions, Abu ad-Darda and Al-Hasan. Al-Hasan says taqiyya is allowed until the day of resurrection. Notice, guys, it says, don't take the disbelievers as allies, some translations, friends, rather than believers. If you do that, you have nothing from God. So if you take non-Muslims as your friends or allies or whatever, you have no connection with Allah, unless it's to guard yourselves as a precaution. In other words, unless they outnumber you, and showing your contempt for them might cause them to be upset with you. In that case, you're allowed to pretend to be friendly. And that's where Ibn Kathir quotes Muhammad's companion Abu Darda, who says, "We smile in their faces while cursing them in our hearts."
Very loving region, right? Very, very loving.
What's crazy is it's all right there in their sources. The entire game plan is right in their sources.
Yeah.
And all the Western politicians and so on combined can't figure this out. Imagine people are doing something and you have their sources that explain exactly why they're doing it, but you've just been taught, well, you're a racist if you actually connect what they're doing with what their religion teaches. That means you're evil, so we won't do it. It's one of life's great mysteries why these guys keep doing these things, even though right here.
Yeah. Yeah. They think denial is river in Egypt. Surah 5, verse 51, 52, and 56. You who believe, do not take the Jews and Christians as allies. They are allies of each other.
Friends.
I am just reading how they put it. I'm very grateful this is in this level.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we're extremely grateful it's there, and that is one of the translations. The idea, the term awliya it's a broader term. It's a broader term. It means friends, allies, all kinds of things. But don't take unbelievers as those things.
Whoever of you takes them as allies is already one of them. Surely God does not guide the people who are evildoers. For example, non-Muslims. Yet you see those whose hearts are sickness. They are quick to turn to them. Whoever takes God as ally and his messenger, and those who believe, Muslims, surely the party of God, they are the victorious. Surah 60, verse 4. There was a good example for you in Ibrahim and those who were with him, when they say to their people, surely we are quit of you and what serve instead of God. We repudiate you, and between us and you enmity has appeared and hardened forever until you believe in God alone.
Yeah, notice that it's a good example for you in Abraham, and then they'll say Abraham actually said this. This is actually an important reference for people to learn, because one of the most common verses that Muslims quote to show that Islam is peaceful and tolerant, they say Surah 60, verse 8, which is Allah doesn't forbid you from showing kindness to a non-Muslim, like a non-Muslim relative or something. They'll say, see, Allah doesn't forbid you. And so on. Just read a couple verses earlier where Abraham, keep in mind, guys, he didn't do this, but he did according to Islam. Abraham announced, hey, there's endless hostility between, because Abraham's a Muslim in the Quran, there's endless hostility between us Muslims and you non-Muslims, and that hostility will not end until you all become Muslims. And that's the exact same chapter as Surah 60, verse 8, which according to their own commentaries was abrogated when the commands to fight came. But even before that, even before the commands to wage offensive jihad came, they were already taught that they should follow the example of the Islamic Abraham, who said endless hatred forever between Muslims and non-Muslims.
These passages expresses that Muslims should maintain strong bond within the Muslim community while keeping non-Muslims at a distance and harboring enmity towards them. The Quran warns that God's view non-Muslims with contempt, and that Muslims who befriend, ally with, or associate closely with them risk being regarded by God as disbelievers themselves. While some Muslims downplay this doctrine, revivalist movements, which have gained considerable influence in Western countries, have actively promoted it, presenting strict adherence to loyalty and dishonor as the vital for the Muslim community's success in carrying out its divine mission. Beyond its theology rule, al-Wala al-Bara has profoundly shaped certain Islamic cultures. In such environments, many Muslims feel strong pressure not to say or do anything they could damage the image of Muslim community or bring discredit to Islam. Within an honor and then shame-based framework enforced by those values, speaking out to outsider about wrongdoing commitment by the fellow Muslims is often seen as an act of betrayal. And then they are giving the example of have you read the Imam's Daughter's book titled Imam's Daughter?
Nope.
So there was this story of ex-Muslim, and she is she's being abused by her father, and then finally she expressed that to the school, and then school gets social worker, and then school wants to be sensitive, so school gets the social worker who is Pakistani, so from the same community, and then she just tells her what's happening in the house, all those kind of things, and then by the time she goes home from the school, this social worker is sitting with her father and then telling her what she told him, because school wanted to be socially, I don't know.
They didn't want to damage the social cohesion, so as always, he got to throw the girls under the bus.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's one of my video on the grooming gangs. That's probably like 2011, 2012. I titled it "Sacrificing Our Daughters," and it was I had lots of points in it, but I was pointing out how the pagans of old, the great thing you could do to show your allegiance to your pagan god was to sacrifice your daughters. And here you are in the 21st century, and the way to show your undying loyalty towards your stupid ideas and so on, and your political party and this and that, is to sacrifice little girls on the altar of tolerance and diversity as our strength and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it states, so while the social worker was present, her father acted kindly, but once he left, her father subjected her to several beating and rape, threatened to kill her if she ever spoke again, and imprisoned her in the cellar for days. When Hannah later encountered the social worker at school and refused further contact, he reportedly told her, "Hey, I was just doing what I thought was right, you know that. It is not right to betray your community."
Yeah, you can't betray your community. It's your job to get beaten and raped and so on.
Similar patterns have appeared in accounts from the grooming gang survivors. Some have described approaching to the police only to be interviewed by Muslim officers who switched off the recording devices and urged her to abandon her complaint due to the support for lack of evidence.
Yeah, keep in mind, you've got 11 and 12-year-old girls, and they go to police and stuff like this, and you have the police, and they say, "Oh, sorry, that's not enough evidence. There's nothing we can do about this." And okay, you don't know any better. So okay, there's nothing police can do. This is my life, being repeatedly gang raped on a daily basis by these guys.
And miraculously, this police officer is Muslim, Mr. Muslim.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah. Anyway, it just goes on that, and then talks about how they were simply actively working against reporting and kind of dropping the cases. Third point is the superiority and dominions of man over woman. Surah 4 verse 34 is being cited twice. In first part, it's the men hold the position of managers or maintainers over women. And then the other part is beating. They put it gently to say, discipline their wives, including through physical violence. So we don't have the full verse, we just got the kind of summary of the verse. And Surah 2, 228 declares that men hold a rank above women. Muhammad stated that women are deficient in both religion and intelligence related to men.
Mhm.
In the same hadith, he noted that women form the majority of those in hell. He also taught that if a woman or a dog passes in front of a man, in front of praying man, the prayers are invalid. As a reason, mosque position men with their backs to women joining the prayer. Sharia obliges a wife to engage in sexual intercourse with her husband whenever he desires it. If she refuses, Muhammad said that angels will curse her until morning. Divorce under the Sharia strongly favors man. A husband may unilaterally divorce. Husband may I don't know this word.
Which one?
This
Oh,
word.
unilaterally. It's just one-sided. One-sided means he gets
Okay.
he gets to decide it for himself.
Divorce his wife without stating reason, simply by pronouncing, I divorced you 3 times. For a wife, obtaining a divorce is far more difficult, typically involved in a formal legal process and often financial cost. Following divorce, the mother may retain physical custody of young children up to a particular age, but the father retains legal guardianship. Moreover, if the mother remarries, she loses the right to have children from her previous marriages reside with her. Sharia rules on evidence further diminishes woman's status, valuing a woman's testimony as half that of man. They've done some homework. Inheritance law under the Sharia generally allocated woman half the share given to the man. A wife or wives together inherit 1/4 of husband's estate if he leaves no children, or 1/8 if he does leave children. In contrast, a husband inherits half of his wife's estate if she has no children, or 1/4 if she does. Sharia approach to rape also disadvantaged women. Rape is categorized as form of zina, the same offense that covers adultery and fornication. Zina is defined as sexual intercourse between a man and woman who is neither his wife or his slave. There is no distinct offense of rape. It is treated as coerced zina, or marital rape is not recognized. Penalty for the rapist minors, that for consensual extramarital sex, 100 lashes for an unmarried person, or stoning to death for one who is or has been married. When a woman accuses a man of rape, her consent is presumed unless both of the acts of the penetration and her lack of consent are proven by 4 male witnesses who each directly observed the man's penis entering the woman's vagina. Naturally, the presence of 4 men witnessing a rape without intervening makes it highly improbable that they would testify in victim's favor. Should a woman allege rape but fail to produce the 4 required male witnesses, she risks being convicted of zina on the basis of her own accusation.
Yeah, and when you were saying that, I actually thought, oh, that lines up with what I read about Pakistan years ago, that most of the women in prison are actually there for being rape victims, and they actually got it in there. These guys are on the ball here.
88% of the women in Pakistan.
80 up to 88% of women imprisoned in Pakistan were rape or gang rape victims who, unable to meet the 4 witnesses requirement, were instead convicted of illicit sex. In other words, you get raped by a guy or multiple guys, you report it to police, they say, well, they said they didn't do it. Where are your witnesses? Well, I don't have the witnesses. Well, you just admitted that you had sex, so you're going to prison.
Yeah.
But you can't prove it against these guys, but you admitted that you had sex, so you're going to prison. Or it's because they become pregnant and they can't prove anything.
Messed up, right?
Yeah, that's about as messed up as it gets, where rape victims are punished because Islam makes it impossible to prove that they've been raped.
Another point is, anyway, this goes on. Do you want me to go through all of it?
The entire thing? It's like 200 and some pages.
We are in page 125.
Wow, you got it through all 100. You got there. You can keep going. You can keep going.
This is the part about what is titled Seclusion of Woman. So Surah 33, verse 33 is being pointed. Women, stay in your houses. Surah 33, verse 59 is pointed. And then they put that his wives and daughters should cover themselves so they are not abused.
Or Yusuf Ali puts it, molested. You don't want. If you don't want to be abused or molested, then you need to dress up like a frumpy ninja. But if you don't dress up like a frumpy ninja, then it's because you want to be molested and abused.
Certain Islamic preachers have explicitly endorsed this view. Following the high-profile convictions of Muslim men in Lebanon, Muslim men of Lebanon's background for rape in Sydney, Australia, the country's Grand Mufti, something Hilali, controversially placed the blame on victims for not being covered and not remaining in their houses. He stated, if you take out uncovered meat and place it outside without cover, the cat comes and then eat it.
Yeah, so the Muslims are the cats who have no control over this.
The cats or the uncovered meat is? The uncovered meat is the problem. If she was in her room, in her home, in her hijab, no problem would have occurred.
By the way, that's false. I mean, the sexual assault capital of the world is Mecca during the Hajj.
Yeah.
Where these are fully covered Muslim women who constantly get sexually assaulted. And they're told, don't say anything about it because it would tarnish the reputation of this holy site. So they're told to keep their mouths shut.
And I remember hearing...
Oh, my goodness, 65-4.
Yeah, I remember hearing testimony of this girl from East Asia. She was talking about she went to the police officers in Mecca, and then they said, yeah, it happens. That's what they told her.
I heard from it happens to guys too, by the way. And I don't know if this is still the case, but back in the day, they would tell men who like reverts from other countries who don't know how these things work. They would tell them if they went on the Hajj, they say, hey, guys are going to show up and are going to grope you and stuff like this. And they're going to be feeling all over you. And don't do anything about it because it would ruin the Hajj. And this is I'm saying this because this was a guy who became a Quran only Muslim. He became a Quran only Muslim. So he didn't believe in a lot of the things from the Hadith. But when he was a straightforward Sunni Muslim convert to Islam, he said, and they're from Brooklyn. He said, so we're going over there, and they tell us, they say, hey, guys are gonna sexually assault you and grope you and stuff like that. Just don't react because it'll cause a scene. He said, what? We're from Brooklyn. Wait. And he said it did happen, and a fight almost broke out because they said they weren't putting up with that crap. But yeah, it happens.
Someone was stating recently, so if you don't have so much beard and mustache stuff, it helps Muslim men in that in joining the Hajj to, let's say, have sexual desires towards you because you don't have enough enough hair on your face.
Mhm.
Another point regarding the grooming or rape gangs inspired or encouraged or linked with Islam is forced marriage and age of consent. Surah 65 verse 4 is being pointed out. It says, under the Sharia, marriage takes the form of contract arranged between two men, the groom and the bride's male guardian. The structure closely resembles the contract for sale. The groom pays an agreed sum, known as the mahr, and the bride, and in exchange, she becomes sexually available to him. Islamic jurisprudence set no minimum age at which a girl or woman may be married. Religion's authorities permit a father to arrange a marriage for his daughter even while she is still infant. Muhammad himself married Aisha when she was 6, and arrangement made between Muhammad and her father, and consummated the marriage when she was 9. The Quran itself addresses the remarriage of the divorced girl who has not reached the menstruation in Surah 65, verse 4. Sharia distinguishes between types of guardians. The bride's father or parental grandfather is termed as wali, blah, blah, blah. Islamic law allows him to compel a virgin daughter or granddaughter into marriage without her consent. The notion that girl must reach the particular age before she can consent to sexual activity is foreigner to Islam. In Islamic teaching, the only lawful context for women to consent to sex is through marriage. And even that, consent is not always required. I think that's like your wives are till to you, go to your wife however you want, or angels are going to come and curse you. All that. Unmarried woman is forbidden from engaging in sex, while married woman has no right under the Sharia to refuse sexual relations with her husband. Hadith further states that virgin silence constitutes consent to marriage. This merging of consent to marriage and consent to sex shed light on Dr. Hill's account when her rapists were telling her she's not screaming stuff. Islamic scholars disagree on the physical or emotional mutual needed in sexual intercourse within marriage. And then gives you what are the things you can do to her, all those kind of things. Just messed up.
This Andrew Norfolk guy is actually spouting nonsense here. Islam prohibits sex outside of marriage. Bull. You can have sex with your slave girls and your captives.
This is the one of the he's the journalist, one of the earliest guy who exposed this. Although Islam forbids sex outside of marriage, all schools of Islamic jurisdiction teach that a girl can be married when she reaches the puberty, which on average in Britain is 11. When the Muslim Brotherhood government took power in Egypt, one of the new laws they were going to introduce was to lower the age of consent from 18 to 13. And disappointment was voiced by certain Salafis and Muslim Brotherhood scholars that it wasn't 9. I was expecting to read that as like, oh, don't change it, but apparently people were disappointed that it's going to 13 but not to 9. Islamic State had 9 as a permissible age for marriage. I don't think there is some sense of wrongness and shame in some cases about having sex with 12 years old girl or even infant. Another reason these Rape gangs in Britain is the fruit of Islamist female sexuality. Talks about FGM, talks about Allah is preordained the portion of zina. Allah has written for the son of Adam to inevitably share of zina, whether he is aware of it or not. So it is simply Allah's desire. Surah 24, verse 30 to 31 is being pointed out. Tell the believing man that they should lower their gaze and guard their private parts. That is pure for them. Surely Allah is aware of what they do. And say that the believing woman that they should lower their gaze and guard their private parts and not show their charms. If you don't look at the floor, if you look at a man, that means apparently you want to have sex with them. Implication of that, apparently. Next reference is jihad and sex slavery.
Yep, those are all, yeah, that goes against, those three verses right there go against what Andrew Norfolk, he didn't understand what Islam says in its full extent. But yeah, those are all verses on Muslim men being allowed to have sex with their captives and slave girls. And 424, you have to read the historical background for it, but that was actually married women. Married, if you capture a married woman, because they already knew they were allowed to have sex with women that they capture after their husbands have been killed in battle. But this time they captured the men and the women, and the Muslim men were worried, wait, wouldn't this be adultery if we're taking married women? And Allah said, no, you can go ahead and have sex with
them. In here, they are saying Muhammad taught that married non-Muslim woman captured in war is automatically divorced from her previous husband by the act of capture itself. As a result, sexual intercourse between her Muslim captor owner and formerly married captive does not count as adultery.
Sounds like exactly what I just said before I even read it.
Yeah, it looks like they did look into that. Yeah, and then they are giving some examples, actually lots of examples on how it has been done, all those kind of things. It was very helpful passage. Like, I was surprised that they knew this amount. So Andrew Norfolk says, some of those Muslim kids have got the idea, probably because it is convenient for them, that Britain's been designated a land for war. So certain things have become permissible in the terms of the enemy. I think some of those guys think it is okay to do stuff to white girls that they wouldn't dream of doing to Muslim girls. I think his writings were like way back. Jay was still in London when his article was published. So that's before 2017. December 2016, apparently. And then the last one is Dhimmichi, Islamic treatment of conquered non-Muslim people. The treatment of non-Muslim populations conquered through jihad. Classical Sharia rules on jihad, defined as warfare waged against non-Muslims to extend the dominion of Islam. It is strange, right? They're not saying like your jihad is your six-pack or washing the dishes.
Or making friendships across the aisle.
Yeah. As we have noted, those rules divided in the world into two fundamental categories. The Dar al-Islam, the House of Islam, theocracies governed by Islamic authority, and Dar al-Harb, the House of War, theocracies under non-Muslim control. Under this framework, non-Muslims fell into one of two groups. Those residing within the House of Islam were considered protected provided they fulfilled the specific obligations and were not legitimately targets of military action. By contrast, those living in the House of War could lawfully be fought, defeated, and upon capture enslaved. When non-Muslim communities come under the Islamic rule, they were granted conditions tolerance through the formal surrender agreement known as the Dhimmi Pact. This agreement allowed dhimmis, protected non-Muslims, to retain their religion, but only on the condition that adult males pay as annual tax called jizya, and the entire community observed the range restrictive regulations. As the renowned commentator Ibn Kathir explained, these rules were designed to ensure their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace.
They're quoting Ibn Kathir there, guys, and that's part of Ibn Kathir's commentary on Surah 9, verses 29, where you fight the Jews and Christians until they pay the jizya and feel themselves subdued. And then that's his commentary on what paying the jizya means. It's and talks about their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace.
If the Dhimmi community was deemed to have violated the pact, whether by failing to pay the jizya or by breaching any of the imposed conditions, Islamic law permitted the resumption of jihad.
That's on the Pact of Umar. Dhimmis had to basically sign that, saying, if we break any of these agreements, which would be things like not rebuilding churches that start falling apart and things like that, not announcing their beliefs loudly and so on. If they broke any of that, then it was an open invitation to come and slaughter them.
In such circumstances, the full Sharia regulations of war would apply. Adult males could be killed, women and children enslaved, and property of non-Muslims seized as spoils. So, he must have someone like in Islamic apologist or in polemist circle, someone who does polemic in his circle, right?
Yeah, this is stuff you'd find out. It doesn't take long to find this stuff out, but you do need to be looking. You do need to be taking a very close look at the Muslim sources. So either these guys are doing it themselves, or they talked to someone and said, "Can you take us through this? A serious look at this."
Yeah. The Dhimmi framework imposed a permanent condition of insecurity on Christian and other non-Muslim population under Muslim sovereignty. It has supplied a religiously sanctioned cultural template that continues to underpin the abduction, forced conversions, and coerced marriage of non-Muslim girls in places such as Egypt and Pakistan. There is also kidnapping of the Christian girls in Pakistan, forced into marriage, and then federal judge ruled actually underage marriage is okay stuff. So in Pakistan, when the girl is being kidnapped, so it's absolutely fine. And in this report, they even give that as an example. Yeah, it goes on. Evidence from the author and activist Ayaan Hirsi Ali at the inquiry highlights that the grooming and rape gangs operating in towns such as Rotherham, Rochdale, and others are not insulated instance of criminality, but stem from imported pre-modern claim. Maybe they got it from Ayaan Hirsi.
Possible.
Because she was parented there. And Tommy Robinson is being mentioned, so he's been given evidence. Maybe like. Anyway, they've done like all right job. Certain ethno-cultural communities enforced by especially Islamic collectivism. As before stated, the crimes disproportionately involved perpetrators from Pakistani heritage background with the patterns rooted in honor and shame-based dynamics that are wholly autonomous on British norms. And then goes on. So those are the 8 points why this is Islamic. I think they did all right job.
Yes, they did.
They did all right job.
A surprisingly all right job.
And then they are putting together kind of suggestions of what can be done so that this doesn't repeat, all those kind of things. And then they are even, because it is done by the politician, he's also pointing out the failure of the current government and previous government, current MPs and previous MPs. And then he also went through some of the Labour current government MPs who were involved in such a situations, and then they resigned stuff, or they sentenced. So all those things are all in the report.
You know what's absolutely insane here?
What?
They're sitting there pointing out the connections with Islam. And I already pointed out this, the same stuff I was saying 15, 16, 17 years ago in shows and videos. And you mentioned Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson was pointing out these connections. Basically, everyone who was looking into this when we started seeing problems was saying all of this. And what was the reaction? Oh, you're racist, you're bigots, you're Islamophobes. And now you eventually get to a point where someone in the government says, we need to look into this. And, oh, what do we find? Exactly word for word what these guys were saying 15 years ago. And we called them all racists and bigots and Islamophobes. It's what we find when we check out the Muslim sources, and now we see what's been going on. But
so he's not in the government. He's a politician, but he's not in government. So that's the individuals who are in government. They didn't want to follow through with the inquiry. They had lots of rules and regulations. People who were the victims of rape gangs like simply pulled away because they couldn't say lots of things. So he's just like one voice there, one voice there. And I didn't check what Labour is talking and saying, but I already know they are just saying, some of the Muslim organizations were pointing out, well, this can't be reliable because it was put together, certain informations were put together by a group of Christians, all those kind of things. So
yeah, you can only trust information that's put together by Muslims and leftists.
Like, even though you've got like, think about it, in the report you've got like Quranic verses, right? But but you can't apparently trust those information stuff. So it also points out we do have rules and regulations when this such a crimes happens, but they are unwilling to put in practice. And they pointed out when people come forward to expose these things, how those people have been treated, all that as well. Simply messed up. Simply messed up. But this is the beginning, apparently, first step. So they will have to follow up because of the social media attention, especially. I don't know if you know about it. Like Elon Musk pointed out this while back as well. Like he financially provided stuff. He said like what is the term, like dig into it and then figure out what is the issue so it doesn't happen, stuff like he talked about grooming gangs. And then
no, he started bringing this up a lot. Yeah. This brought a lot of people because he had a huge following. And this was, I think, around the beginning of 2025 where he started commenting and sharing posts by people talking about the grooming gangs and so on. And that brought a lot of people's attention to it. And it was especially good because Elon's one of those guys that, you can't control. And it's like, there are people like me and you that people can't control and so on. But someone, who's the richest person in the world, and all of a sudden you can't control him. They tried everything. And it wasn't just Muslims. It was like the left, and everyone's freaking out about him and boycott his cars. And they started going around like destroying Teslas and like car lots and stuff
Yeah, I
like this.
remember that.
Yeah. And the dude just doesn't back down. So that's the kind of, we need more people like that. People who are in positions of either influence or political power or whatever else, who simultaneously don't back down. Need more people like that.
Anyone in the place of making noise, make noise about it, and then take it from there. Report is all over social media. I put the link in the description as well. Get the screenshots of it, circulate as much as you can. And then I think Rupert Law said like 1 million people already downloaded so far. So,
and I said yesterday that same here. One, everyone should read this, or at least read the most relevant sections of it. But this is very easy, especially because we'll have entire pages where it's just like a quote.
Yeah.
It's like a quote from a victim or a question, and then the quote from the victim. Very easy to take a screenshot of that page and share it all over social media. So guys, this is a very, very good time for everyone to be involved and share this information with everyone who will listen.
This can't go on. Kids has been suffering, and the sad thing is like it is still going on. In the report, it talks about how current mayor of London is still ignoring this while knowing that it is happening. So
yeah, by the way, that's what we've been told for the past several years. Oh, but it's not happening in London. Turns out, it's been happening in London, and they've been covering it up.
Yeah.
Because they've been covering it up specifically so that they can say, but it's not happening in London, and that's where we have a huge Muslim population. So this can't be a thing.
Well, you pointed out, right? They need those votes. They want to be in power. Being in power is a very greedy thing, and people want to be in that power. So whatever helps you to stay in that power or get to that power, you just offer that. You just stay silent for the sake of money. And it's ugly business, ugly business. So from page 182 onwards, you've got more testimonies of the victims and the quotations from the victims, and it is just sad. But you can simply take the screenshot of that page, that quotations, and then post it. Make noise as much as you can, because maybe today it's not you, it's not your kid, but tomorrow it might be your kid. And it doesn't have to be your kid. Scripture tells us we cannot turn blind eye when there is injustice. So as a Christian, it is our duty to make sure those things doesn't happen again. And people have been saying this for decades and decades and more decades, and it's still happening. Anyway, we can stop here. I think that's enough. Not enough, actually, but that's where we stop.
You mean that's enough for today?
That's enough for today. We can just make like whole videos just for each testimony.
Mm-hmm.
There are some super chats. Let me acknowledge them, David. Season 1, thank you very much for your generosity. Thanks for the work. UK seems to be stage 6 of suicidal empathy. Top Canada. Yeah. They might wake up. Like sometimes you get to see there is like heartbeats, um, but yeah, not sure if that is enough. Not sure if that is enough. Suffer the little children to come to me, for there is the kingdom of heaven. In Islam, we really see the serpent is in the enmity with the woman still, with the woman still. Imagine being in prison for getting only 3.5 witnesses. No joke. I am sure there are the cases like that. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, you don't have 4 witnesses, you go to prison. I remember like we talked in one of the live stream, we were talking about like it's not like you get like 6 months prison. It's like long-term prison sentences you get. And while you are in prison, people come after your family stuff in prison. And of course in prison, in Pakistan, prisoners don't have that much right as the Western prisoners have. So you go to prison and then you leave the prison being pregnant or like losing some part of your body. Ed Hussein on Trigonometry gave good reasons for the root cause of terrorism, grooming gangs, etc., but failed miserably, tied it to religion. Yeah. It's not good place to be. You've got the platforms and then you say this is all because of my religion. People's version of Islam is changes sometimes versus Islam version of Islam or Muhammad's Islam. Should be louder about this than Epstein. As I said, we cannot turn blind eye when we see injustice. Thank you very much, everyone, for the super chat. We need to end on something positive like well, while all these things are happening, of course, we know King of Kings is on the throne and everyone is going to give account for what they've done. Today, you can shut down the police officers or police officers whose job to uphold the law, protect you, NHS whose job to make sure you are healthy, their job to take care of you, government, you hire them to serve you. They may be all failed, but we've got someone who is on the throne, and today human beings are running away from the judgment, all those kind of things. But on the day of judgment, there is nowhere they can run. They have to stand and then give account for what they have done. And I really don't want to be next to them on the day of judgment. I really don't want to be next to them. In this world, maybe they are running away from their crimes, but there is no way they will be able to run away from their crimes on the day of judgment when they stand in front of the Lamb of God. So that's positive, but it is, for certain people, it might be not good enough positive. Your last thoughts, David?
I'm just impressed.
Encouraging.
I'm just impressed by that water bottle.
Sorry.
Everyone talks about my big mug here, but you got the even bigger water bottle there. So pretty impressive. But yeah, guys. So bad side. All this stuff's been going on, but again, this started in the 1950s in the UK. It's been going on a lot longer than that. Been going on a lot longer than that in other parts of the world, and at least here we are, 2026, and it's getting a bunch of attention. So a lot of people need to be exposed for all this. A lot of people need to go to prison. A lot of people need to be deported. A lot of people who were turning a blind eye to it or other things need to lose their jobs. But the big takeaway needs to be people need to be looking into Islam and why it keeps causing this stuff. So take this opportunity to share information about Islam with people.
And then, of course, preach the gospel, because we don't want them to like leave Islam and then become atheists. We want them to turn to Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because they're going to become atheists and then they're just become leftists and they're going to
Messed up, right? Or they're going to become atheists and then they're going to spend eternity in hell with Muhammad, and that's not very nice.
Yeah, you don't want to be down there with the grooming gangs.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone who joined us. I know topic is kind of distressing, but it is happening. We need to talk about it. David, thank you very much for joining me as well. Anything do you want us to keep eye on if anything is happening from your side?
Just regular stuff, live streams and videos.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much, everyone who joined us. May Christ crucified silent with his love until we see you again.